Hello, Eastern Ace. It's Philip Wilkerson back with another episode of Conversations with Phil and Whit. My wonderful co-host is joining us soon, and we're just really excited for this conversation with Monique Sample today. We're just going to have a few announcements before we get launched into this show, and I'll also bring my co-host on because she has a few to share about our upcoming episodes. But right now, as you know, this is an old, outdated graphic because it says 2023. But regardless of that, we still do this. So if you're interested in being a sponsor of next year's conference, I'll update the graphic. That's, blame me. Next, College Booster, same thing. It's probably outdated graphic. But additionally, you can still be a college booster. And so we're really interested in that. Obviously, elevating our college partners in that conversation. But this is a huge announcement that actually is up to date, hot off the presses. We will be having our annual conference next year, June 19th, Juneteenth. So we'll probably have some programming as it relates to Juneteenth to June 21st in Philadelphia. And we will be meeting at the Philadelphia Sheraton, right? So for our annual conference. So mark your calendars, book your calendars. Information on how to be a session presenter will be coming out, all the like. So just mark your calendars. We're really excited to finally have this announcement to the members of Eastern Ace that our annual conference is in Philly. It's always sunny in Eastern Ace. I think that's a play on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because we're very smart at our association and very clever and witty. But Whitney, please let us know, what's going on with the Eastern Ace Conversations, as you can see right here for our next season.
You just stressed me out by making that comment. We are very smart and we are very, very witty. Hopefully we can record an episode of It's Always Sunny at Eastern Ace and have the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia theme song somehow. I love that song and I love that show. Anyway, so yeah, hey y'all. So we have a jam-packed season. All right. Today, of course, we got Monique. Yay, so excited to be talking with her. And next episode, we have Jennifer. And clearly you can see, I'm not going to read everybody's name because I feel like that's just going to waste time, but you can see that we have a whole bunch of amazing guests that will be joining us this season. I'm about to say year, but this season. And it's really going to be great. So it says every third Friday, but I know there's an asterisk next to that because our next episode, I believe, is on the 2nd. Am I tripping? Okay, never mind. But
it's November 17th, so I don't know. Look at your calendars if that's actually the 3rd.
Okay, I thought it was November 2nd. I'm tripping. It does. Yeah. But November 17th, that probably is the 3rd Sunday, Friday. My brain. It's raining over here. I don't know what it's doing down there in Virginia, but it's raining over here. So my brain is not working the way that it should. But yeah, our season is about to be amazing. These conversations are going to be great. And the conversation that we're going to be having today is about to be fantastic because we got the amazing Monique. So I know I'm jumping ahead. I apologize, Phil. Go ahead.
But also just we are going to also, we said earlier in the first episode of this season, we're actively working on recording these episodes to be available on Spotify. So just please keep a lookout for that. Yes. We'll be trying to do that. It'll probably be this conversation as well as our first conversation being launched in the next week or so. But just be patient with us as we develop and do the post-production of these conversations. So for those that are interested, can listen to the audio on Spotify as well. But I'm going to allow my wonderful co-host to introduce our wonderful guest for today and get into this conversation about living authentically in all spaces, particularly spaces as it relates to work.
So you just did the whole introduction, right?
Yeah, I know.
Let's just bring Monique up. Hey, Monique, how you doing? Yeah. I just can't. I can't. You just did the whole intro.
I love it. He does the job for you, right? Like,
cool. I mean, it is what it is. At least I don't got to do it. But hi, how you doing?
Hi. How you doing? I'm so glad to be back in the space with both of you. Like, we had a time at Eastern Ace, and I like to continue this. So absolutely. I'm just happy to be back with you too.
Well, I mean, we didn't. I really didn't do an interview. You're working at VCU, but please tell us about who you are in regards to your 9 to 5, as well as your most recent involvement in Eastern Ace.
Yeah, so I'm Monique Sample. I work for Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia. The work that I do here is I'm the diversity programs and employer partnership specialist. I work with our diverse student population on campus and our diverse employer partnerships. So I work with all of our employers to creating a space that is welcoming, that is open and honest, um, to accepting our students and being their most authentic selves, and open to spaces where our students can be their most authentic selves, and helping them to understand and create spaces where they can do that. But then also elevating the work that they're doing internally. So a lot of employers are creating those holistic spaces, have done the work, but may not know how to describe that, how to tell that to students. And so how can I help them to elevate that work and showcase that and tell students, yes, we have spaces that we're affirming you. We have spaces that we've created that have mentorship opportunities, that there are people who want to help you elevate and grow and get to your next level. So what does that look like for you? Outside of that, uh, yeah, I'm all over the place. I love photography. I am involved in the special needs community. So I work with a good friend of mine, Pam Mines, and partner with her a lot with JP Jumpers Foundation and volunteering with them. And, just doing whatever I can to elevate and help others in growing and elevating in their best selves. So yeah.
Excellent. And then in Eastern Ace, you're a recently new member, but what parts are you involved with this organization and your experiences so far?
Yeah, so far I'm still navigating that space and still trying to get my hands getting my feet wet, hands wet. So I'm still navigating getting involved, but wanting to get involved in the technology team and in the diversity team. So, but yeah, still navigating getting the involved piece. But Eastern Ace, I fell in love at the conference. I felt the most welcome at that conference, and I for it being such a large conference, I think that was the most fear factor I had was there are going to be a lot of people here. Am I going to feel welcome? Am I going to feel like I feel seen in spaces, feel welcomed, feel comfortable? And as an introvert, that was a fear for me. And I navigated it and it was easy. I think I told with this, I told, afterwards, I was like, that was the best conference I've been to in a while. And I loved it. So, yeah.
Yay. I appreciate you.
Yeah. You all did that.
Thank you. Eastern Ace thanks you.
Yeah.
um, okay, so let's get yes with the heart. So let's get into it. So our topic today is living authentically in all spaces, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask the most basic question, because I feel like with a lot of things, things can be interpreted differently, right?
Absolutely.
So can you tell us, to you, what does living authentically mean, and what does that look like?
Yeah. So living authentically to me means in whatever space you're in, being true to yourself, um, and and comfortable in that space. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be um, and I say this because we carry different identities in different spaces and with different people, right? So I might be in my workspace a different person. And it's not to say that I um, am not still my authentic self at work, but I'm not going to speak a certain way. I'm not going to act a certain way that I would when I am out with the homies, right? Or with my family. So you're going to see variations of me, but that is still me being my authentic self in those various spaces. So whatever space you're in, who you are and just being true to who you are. That's what I mean when I say living authentically. Letting that guard down and just being true to who you are in that space. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to carry all of your identities into that space and be 100% you. Because to be quite honest, I don't know if everyone's ready for the 100% Mo or Monique in all spaces. Like, that might be a lot for some people, and that's okay. I know which versions to show up as in what spaces, and some of that is also a protection for me too. You know, so you have to read the room and know how you should show up, and what version you want to bring.
Well, I think you brought up a great point, because I think it's actually integral to your normal role. Is then on the inverse, how do employers, when you're having these conversations with employers, how do these employers allow or create spaces for people to bring these variations to that? And how have they shown up in your employer calls?
Yeah.
Because you're doing we want to recruit diversity, and you're assuming okay, well, I want to make sure that the variations of the diverse students that I'm, coming to your organization are able to be authentically them in your definition of the variations, because that's great.
Yeah. So I think for a lot of us, it's about feeling like we feel seen, heard, and affirmed in those spaces, right? So if I come to work and I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard, I don't feel validated, and everything I say or do gets shot down, I am pushed to the side, all of my ideas, thoughts, or anything gets completely invalidated, nothing matters. What makes you think I'm going to show up? Right? Because you've shown me that you don't value who I am. I am just a commodity. I am just a body filling a space, doing the work. So from the top down or from the bottom up, whatever level you're on, how do I fit into that puzzle? So every organization has a vision. Well, how do I fit into that vision? What is my role in that vision? How do I feel seen in that vision? I should feel like a piece of me is in that. And so am I working towards that vision, whether it's the individual organization or the holistic vision, right? And so even just if I take our central office itself, one of the great things I love about our office is that at every level, no matter who I'm working with, I want to make sure that that person feels like they have a space where they can just be themselves, where if they need to take down the mask and breathe and just say what they feel off, whatever it is, they can. Employers should also create those spaces too. Make sure that they have spaces for individuals to work with others where they have identities that matter to them. So if it's for me, I have identities that I'm a Black female. So as a Black female, I want to see other Black females. I want to work with other Black females at all levels, and I want to be able to collaborate with other Black females. That doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't other identities that I carry that I don't want to work with others on, but that is just one. And so how can I collaborate and work with other Black females in an organization where I'm not seeing that? Right? So how are we creating that space?
Awesome. I really like that. And you pretty much giving some best practices there. I'm thinking about myself and the environment that I'm currently in, that I'm very, very happy in. And the inclusive environment that my university has created, for our diverse both student and faculty / staff. right? But I'm always thinking about those individuals that may be struggling with their identities, right?
Mm,
Because maybe they went to their career center back in the day, and the career center, emphasis on back in the day, just
mm,
that out there, but their career center back in the day told them that, especially a black or brown person, told them that they have to be one specific way in order to make it,
yeah.
right? In order to be accepted in the space. So now they get into a place like, Rutgers, Newark, for example, where you can live authentically 1 trillion%, right?
Yeah.
So how can employers support those individuals, those employees who are going through like personal identity related challenges while maintaining their professional lives?
Mm. That is I mean, that's a great question. And that's a hard question because, again, it's, you know, to some degree, we're complex people,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to let people show up how they want to show up in that space, right? Give them the ability to show up how they want to show up, but you also want to create a space that lets them feel comfortable showing up how they want to show up. So give them the freedom, give them the ability to show up like they want. So on that first day, on that interview, in that interview, they should be able to feel comfortable and know that around the room, I can be my authentic self. One of the things I loved about my interview for coming into career services, and I'll never forget this, is the day before I stressed like none other because I have natural hair. It's curly, and the minute I put heat to it and straighten it, the minute an ounce of like moisture gets to it, it's going to poof up, right? So the day before my interview, I was stressing because I was like, should I straighten my hair? That is the norm. That is what I've always been taught. Make sure you go in with straight hair. So I was going to do this, but then I was like, it's May. It's May in Virginia. I'm going to sweat this out and I'm going to look like a chia pet. And how is that going to look for my interview, right? Like, I can't walk in there with just a big old poof and they just look at me like, um, this how you showing up? No. So I stopped stressing and I said, you know what? If this is the job for me, they're going to accept me in my complete natural form, in my complete natural state, and accept me as who I am. And so I wore my hair curly and I walked in my complete self, natural state, and I walked in and they were fine with it. They didn't say anything. And I was honestly probably the most relaxed and myself in that interview than I've ever been in any interview. And there was a point in time where in our interview, we were just vibing, talking, having a conversation, started laughing. And I forgot I was in an interview. It just felt like a regular staff meeting. And it got to a point where someone was asked, do you still have any more questions? And I looked around the room at somebody else, like, do you have any questions? And they were like, no, you're being interviewed. And I was like, oh, right. Yes, I am an interview.
Yeah.
So for me, I knew, okay, this is the space. I can be amongst these people. This is my space because I felt so comfortable that I let my complete guard down and I could be my whole self. And that was the space I felt going from then on. We also have to understand that like we have to see every person, and every person that we encounter has a story. Every person is dealing with something outside of just the norm. There's more to us than just what we see. And the more we understand that, the more we can grow and accept people for who they are and just say, you know what, who are you? Let me get to really know you and understand that you're more than just Whit. You're more than just Philip. There's more complexity to you than just what I see. And I want to know all of it.
I love that. One of the things I love too that you said way earlier was that you look for people that resemble you to be yourself. One of the things I've seen and heard and actually been a part of are employer resource groups or affinity groups.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the counter argument is that then people will say, well, then you are segregating yourself, right? Like, wow, like that's, reverse discrimination. But then on the inverse, I've seen a lot of, in my own personal experience, that being around spaces that are similar to me has helped me feel a sense of belonging,
Yeah.
helped me want to stay, let my mask down, and all that. So in your maybe your personal experiences as well as these conversations that you're having with employers, how do you combat that notion that creating individual spaces based on identity is not segregation, that it's probably a positive, it's a needed thing, it's supporting affinity groups, supporting employer resource groups are a great idea rather than something that you're being discriminatory.
Right. It's just what you said. That's how I lay it out, is that it is a resource. It is an opportunity to grow your organization. How can you best sell your organization than to showcase all of the great things that you're doing outside of the work? People want to see that you are multifaceted, that it's not just about come in, clock in, do the work, and that's it. We're not robots, right? We are there's more to us than just doing the work and just being sitting at a desk and typing and doing all of the things. Like, people want to know, can I get up? Can I have a conversation with my colleagues? Can I talk about the things that are bugging me? Right? Or is it going to be so angsty that I can't even do that? Can I have like-minded conversation or even descending conversation and know that we can still have those and it be civil? That's the best thing, is having descending conversations and know that we can still be civil and cordial to each other. Like, why not grow your organization and have civil conversations about opposing ideas? That's how you grow in your mindset, grow in your understanding of the world, grow in your knowledge of your organization, who people are, what they believe in. You even might even question what you believe in and what you've always thought to believe. you know that's what we think college is about, right? That's what we teach our students, to question everything, to question their thoughts, to question what they've always been taught. Why aren't we doing the same thing, right? And so we should be telling our employers to do the same thing. Use these employer resource groups as a way to promote your organization, but also it's an allyship too. It doesn't necessarily mean that just because I belong to, let's say, the Black resource group, that there aren't white allies or American Indian allies or anyone else who's an ally, a part of that group. They want to learn from me just as much as I'm learning from my peers and helping my peers. It doesn't have to be just a one shop, like these are the only people who are allowed in this group, and if you don't belong, if you don't look like us, you can't belong. No, it's about learning, it's about growing, it's about how can we stand on each other's shoulders and help lift each other up. How can we escape the, let's be completely honest, the hell that we are seeing outside of these four walls,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Uh, you're preaching right now. I just gotta let you know you're preaching right now. I'm saying here like keep going, because you're really speaking to those that are in the back, that are just they're in the back because they're left in the past and they just don't understand.
Right.
I mean, you're speaking to everybody, of course. You are
Yeah.
definitely speaking to all, but to continue to focus on the ones in the back. My question for you is, well, Let me preface this question with this statement. I feel like some employers, or just individuals in general, but some employers may want to do this, but might be a little bit sketchy, or not sketchy, but skeptical of, just providing these opportunities. I don't know why, because whatever. It might be a career services thing where you're like, why don't you do this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, they might be like, so, I mean, what's in it for me? Like, I'm doing all of this, I'm putting in all this effort. What is in it for me? So, can you share with them what's in it for them? The potential benefits of, you know, providing this space for employees to really feel
Mm.
comfortable in the workplace. Please, and thank you.
Yeah. So long are the days where you have people staying 25 years in a company, right? So that used to be the mindset. That used to be the goal, is to stay with a company for longer than a certain amount of time. Those days are long gone. So you're lucky if you've got someone who stays past 2 years, heck, even 6 months, right? So when we talk about this younger generation, and I say younger generation, I'm talking recent college grads, right? When I talk to them, they're literally telling me they've got 6 months to keep me. And if I don't feel like I am seen, heard, valued, or have a way of moving up or moving within the organization, or feel just valued, feel like I can move around, or I know I'm connecting with people within the organization, I'm out. I'm moving on to something else, or I will do my own thing. So, what's in it for them? They're keeping people. They're not having to reinvent and restart this process. That's costing them money. I know what the cost associated with having to do the job search over and over and over and over again. Each time you have to fill that role, because that's a person you lost. Well, how can you keep these people? You get them connected. They stay connected. You help them move up. You help them move about. Whether it's moving up, moving laterally, you're helping them grow. You're providing them opportunities to expand. And if they don't want to, that's fine. But how can you help them to feel like this is the healthiest environment for them? And that's the thing. Like, for me, right now, in the space that I'm in, it's about my peace of mind, my health. Like, that's going to top it. Do I want the money and the coins to go with it? Absolutely. But my peace of mind is going to trump that right now. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We might do it extended, or maybe another time we have to do another, because it's too much. Too much. We had, it's just crazy. But I definitely want you to roll us out. I won't do the announcements. I want to hit you with the last question, and then you can maybe just finish us out yourself, Mo, because I
Sure.
don't want to cut you off. But let's say, can you share another story? I love the story that you shared about your hair before an interview. But can
Mhm.
you share another story as living in the space where you felt that you were living in your authentic self after, not just the interview going into it, but just concurrently, and then just kind of wrap us up with, the rest of it. Because I know the story could probably be like 2 or 3 minutes itself. But yeah, go ahead.
Um, I think it even just boils down to my dress. I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I used to work for Circuit City Stores, right out of college, corporate environment where you have to dress a certain way. You come in, corporate attire, certain wear, certain look. Um, I understood what that looked like. Switching over to a career minded environment, very different. Switching over to higher ed is very different. And even just in different spaces, very different. I'm now working for a public university. I also worked for a small private university or college. And there's a difference in the two. different environment, different people. I feel like I can dress how I want. The other day, I rocked a VCU sweatshirt, jeans, and some Jordans. And I felt like I still could be a professional and command attention and be an advocate for students and work with students and not be questioned that I was any less of a professional than if I'm wearing a suit, right? So this is where, for me, it doesn't, that's the space that I like to be in and I'm comfortable being in. And that's what I want our students to understand. And as they go into the space, is how can you dress and feel affirmed for who you are and where you are? Are you feeling seen for who you are? And as an employer, are you seeing them for who they are? Or are you looking at it as, oh, they didn't wear this particular outfit or they didn't do this particular thing? Well, let's look past that. What is it that they're trying to tell you? What are they saying? You know, even on their resume, let's read between the lines. There's more to us than just outward appearance.
Well, you mic drop. That was perfect. We're just right on time. Thank you so much, Mo. This has been a great conversation. Obviously, we knew we had to get you on this season of Eastern EACE Conversations with Phil and Whit. Just your insights and your opportunity, not your willingness to collaborate has been a pleasure. And I'm just so excited to see you continue to rise in Eastern EACE in regards to your involvement. But thank you so much. For those that are following along or listening to this later, as I said earlier, this episode will be uploaded later on Spotify, but you still can check out the episode as it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please connect with our guests on LinkedIn, as Whitney put in the comments again. And, any last thoughts that you had to share, Whitney, before we close out?
No, not really. Like, shout out to you, Monique. Thank you so much, tossing you your flowers, because I was engaged. I was sitting here taking notes. I love
Thank you.
talking to you. I love talking to you. And this lip, I've been admiring this lip that you got on right now. From before, I was like, "Ooh," but I just wanted to wait to give
I
you.
love it.
But yes,
Thank you.
thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you. That's the heart.
Thank you so much to both of you for having me. I've enjoyed our time together. I always do. So
Absolutely. All right.